Hi everyone, and welcome back to the channel. This is David Hyman, your tour guide in Israel. Today's tour is to the ancient village of Korazim. To get here, take Road 90 north of Tiberias and then turn right to Road 8277 and continue for a few kilometers. The park is managed by Israel's Nature and Park Authority, so there is an admission fee and you should check the visiting hours. Park contains remains of the village of Korazin built during the period of the Talmud. The ruins were left completely neglected and deserted for nearly 1,000 years. The greatest advantage of this site is that you are actually allowed to explore and touch the ancient ruins of a Jewish Galilean village. The recent excavations can tell us a lot about the inhabitants of Korazim, their homes, their occupation, their farming, and of course their communal life and their spiritual life, as that we can see when we visit the synagogue and the mikveh. Korazim was built on a hill overlooking the Sea of Galilee and the town of Capernaum. This is volcanic rock. It came out of eruption of volcanoes. The volcanoes were active here millions of years ago, and none of them are active anymore. But the whole Golan Heights and large portions of the area around the Sea of Galilee are covered with these lava flows, this black, very, very hard and dense basalt rock. So let's start by visiting the people's homes and see if we can learn how they managed to build them. So to cover the homes with ceilings, they built massive arches that divided the space into narrow naves. Each of these naves was covered with these long stone slabs. The villagers' livelihood was probably the production of wine and oil. So let's visit the winepress and then the olive press. They would put the grapes on this mosaic floor and stamp on them with their bare feet, and then the juice would run into this basin and would be collected here. And you can see it had plaster on the walls and staircase to go down, so it's possible to fill the jars. This is where they found a complete factory for olive oil production. This is the basin of the crusher. The crusher would spin using animal force. Then the crushed olives would be brought and would be placed on the press. There would be two poles here and weights, and they would squeeze the oil. The oil would flow through this rut into the basin, and then the olive oil would float on top of the water, and that is how it would be separated. So without a doubt, the most beautiful building in the village of Korazim was the ancient synagogue. Here's the synagogue. The synagogue was built in the center of the town on an elevated platform in close proximity to the ritual bath. This synagogue was probably built in the early 4th century. And there's the synagogue interior. And here we are. So the synagogue is made out of this very, very hard black basalt rock, which is extremely difficult to carve and engrave. So the artists that worked on this synagogue, they managed to create all these wonderful and beautiful designs. The most beautiful thing that was found has been taken and is now in the Israel Museum. It is called the Seat of Moses. Seat of Moses. It was placed here. One of the important finds of the Korazim Synagogue is a decorated basalt chair with an Aramaic inscription mentions Yudan, son of Ishmael. The seat was probably intended for dignitaries. Korazim in the Christian source. So Korazin was already mentioned by Eusebius in the 4th century. He mentioned Korazim, a village in the Galilee cursed by the Messiah, lies in ruins today. Matthew chapter 2. Jesus curses these towns. Woe unto thee, Korazin! Woe unto thee, Bethsaida! For if the mighty works which were done in you had been done in Tyre and Sidon. This synagogue we are right now is from the 4th century, but it is possible that this exact location was an earlier synagogue from the 1st century. And this synagogue, Jesus came here to preach to the people of Korazim, and they rejected him. Why do we think that? Because in recent excavations, they found coins and pottery dating back to the Hasmonean period, which is the 1st century BC. This was the ritual bath, the mikveh. You can see the steps are leading down into a covered chamber, and there's still water in the mikveh. And you can see the walls are plastered. But look at the ceiling, look at the roof. They would use these long stone planks as a ceiling. And to prevent the rain from going in, they would fill it with small stones, the gaps, and cover it with mud and straw. This is the mikveh, the ritual bath. You can also walk the loop trail, 500 meters. It goes around the village of Korazim with beautiful views of the Sea of Galilee. So I really hope that you all enjoyed this tour of Korazim. So if you did, please give me a big thumbs up, and please subscribe to the channel and write a comment and let me know where you'd like to go on our next tour of wonderful Israel. Bye everyone, and take care.